Welcome to the shortwave radio channel, and as we go through the history of the radios that I had, we of course seen the first radios, my realistic DX100, which I loved, but there was one thing missing on the DX100, and it was a frequency display that would show you accurately where you're tuning. So one of the first things that I was thinking of is, yeah, it'd be fun to have one of those radios. And we went to a flea market, and I spotted this radio. And I still remember the seller was asking $75 for it. And my dad said, well, if you want it, we can do an arrangement and see how you can pay it back. And so I came back home that night with the DX302, which looked cool and had a frequency display. Once again, ignorance of the day. Didn't really know how good this was, but it was cool, and for the first time in my life, I could actually see the frequency of a station that I was listening to. And I could just go directly to a frequency of, any broadcast that I wanted to try. So I was happy, and this became my main radio from about, I'd say, late 1984, until I got my Kenwood R5000. This was my main radio. So for 6 years, basically, my main shortwave receiver was this. And it had flaws. I started also to have enough knowledge to notice there were some flaws on this radio. For example, it overloaded easily and would prevent reception of weak stations when there were really powerful stations in the same frequency range. So things I started to notice. It was the first time that I could notice that, okay, there's some flaws on this radio. And of course, one of the things it had was a pre-selector tune here, which kind of tried to help you remove the signals that could make the radio bad. So it wasn't, in reality, the DX302 was an okay radio, but was better than DX100, that for sure. But it was still a radio that wasn't the best out there. But once again, there are tons of radio stations to listen to. The fact that it had also something that was cool, which was a narrow and wide selectivity switch, where there were like crystal filters to try to eliminate if stations were close. The first time also that I had a radio where it was stable enough to listen to single sideband signals quite easily. And I mean, this was really cool because I could listen to ham radio operators, utility signals, anything. And, it was stable enough that in SSB you actually retuned only maybe, when it was warm, maybe only every couple of minutes, which was quite good for the time, especially so this is not a PLL radio. It's not a phase lock loop. It's a quartz crystal, or quartz synthesized, as they call it, which is basically using a quartz crystal in a circuit to give its frequency accuracy, but at the same time, because it's not a phase lock loop, it was still drifting slowly with, when it was on. But, after, I'd say after half an hour it was on, it technically was pretty good and didn't have to retune very often. So it was pretty good, and it had separate upper-lower sideband switch, which was nice too. So this was a receiver that I used many years as my main radio, and probably got me quite a few hundreds of QSL cards in that time frame. So I was happy I could finally tune directly to frequencies that I listened to, rather than guessing like on the DX100. If you enjoy my videos, please subscribe, give us thumbs up. Thank you for watching.